What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus package update, stimulus check update, daily news, everything going on here in our country, in Washington, D.C., with our economy, money, investing, the stock market, everything you need to know about on a daily basis. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on new videos that come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And don't forget to hit the like button for us down below. We got a lot to talk about here, so let's jump right in. California Governor Gavin Newsom is calling for another $2.7 billion to expand their COVID response in a new budget proposal. This one won't have stimulus checks in it. This will be for more virus response, but California may see another stimulus check this year on the state level. Remember, California is just kind of finishing sending out their state stimulus checks to about 27 million people. $600 stimulus checks and $1,100 stimulus checks if you have children to about 27 million people right now. And they have tens of billions of dollars left over in their state fund. So there could be another state stimulus check this year for California. Lots of other states have billions of dollars left over as well. So we could see a lot of states send out stimulus checks, stimulus programs, rent assistance, different type of stimulus programs this year as well, as we're seeing a lot of different states do this here. And I'll keep you up to date on this here. But Governor Gavin Newsom on Saturday unveiled the 2022 to 2023 budget proposal, which includes $1 billion more in COVID-related funding than the $1.7 billion allotted in last year's budget. He calls it the new $2.7 billion package, the latest emergency response package in the nation. I'm sorry, the largest emergency response package in the nation. And this will include money for emergency urgent funding, testing, vaccination, booster capacity, and battling misinformation and more. And if you've been watching the show, you know that there's a lot of different states here. Almost every week, I have a different state stimulus program. Even the Navajo tribe is sending out $2,000 stimulus checks and $600 stimulus checks. A lot of different states are announcing all sorts of different checks and programs and stimulus programs. And a lot of times they have different names. They call them tax refunds. They call them, Michigan has a car refund program where they're sending out $400 checks per car on a car refund type of program that they're sending out here in 2022. And I expect a lot of different states here in 2022 to be sending out stimulus checks or stimulus type programs here. Some you may have to apply for the money. Some you may not. They may send you out a stimulus check. But I will keep you up to date here in 2022 because a lot of states are sitting on kind of surplus funds from their states or stimulus funds from the third stimulus check program that they have to distribute in certain fashions. They can't just spend it however they like. They have to spend it in certain ways. So I'll keep you up to date on that. Also, the battle on Senator Joe Manchin is on right now on both stimulus package. Remember, there's a couple different stimulus packages. There's the Build Back Better, and now there's two other virus type stimulus funding right now going on here because of how bad the pandemic is. Kind of emergency stimulus funding that they're discussing here for businesses, for people, possible checks, all sorts of different things here. To there and the Build Back Better package. So a lot of different possibilities going forward right now. And for voting rights, that is a big thing being discussed on right now. They're actually considering changing the filibuster in the Senate to abide by voting rights, to change this filibuster. The filibuster is the rule that normally requires 60 votes to pass in the Senate, and they want to potentially change that. Remember that even the Republicans, Mitch McConnell, changed the filibuster to appoint Supreme Court justices. they changed it down to just a simple majority, 50 to 51 votes. And the filibuster has been changed several times around. They are considering changing the filibuster again. And here's some context on this and the Build Back Better package or stimulus packages with Joe Manchin.
Democrats are apparently trying a new tactic to get Joe Manchin to sign on to possible Senate rule changes in order to get essential voting rights legislation passed. They've reportedly enlisted the likes of Bill Clinton and Oprah to try to convince him. The most productive discussions are said to be between Manchin and fellow centrist Democrats, some of whom only recently changed their minds on filibuster reform. From Politico, Senator Tim Kaine likened the effort to his 27-hour drive to Washington earlier this week after a snowstorm devastated I-95. Slow progress toward a goal, like my commute. With us tonight, Don Calloway, Democratic strategist and founder of the National Voter Protection Action Fund, and Tim Miller, contributor to The Bulwark and the former communications director for Jeb Bush. It is good to see you both. Tim, I remember less than a month ago, Joe Manchin was complaining about the public pressure campaign around Build Back Better. One, is any of this going to work? And two, a question I often ask myself, if Oprah can't do it, who can?
I mean, Oprah can't hurt, I guess, right? Look, I think the question with Manchin is this. The Democrats, have to come up with something that Manchin can take back to his own voters in West Virginia and sell to them, or at least feel good about selling to them. I don't know that Oprah is it, right? And so does that mean, some sort of trade? Can he bring over a Republican or two and say, hey, we did a compromise. They wanted to push me to, the extremes, and I'm coming back with something sensible. They got to give him something that he can sell in a state that voted 70% for Donald Trump. The other thing I have here is that all this pressure shouldn't be on Joe Manchin. The Republicans cannot continue to get left off the hook, and the Democrats got to put pressure on Republicans. There's a very small window here from now until November where there is at least a modicum of normalcy in the Republican Senate caucus. There are a lot of extremists. There are a lot of folks who've gone along with Trump, but there were 7 Republican senators who voted to convict Trump. There's another handful that are retiring, who are kind of the old guard, your traditional Republican types. Once those folks are gone, they're going to be replaced with crazy MAGAs. And so the Democrats should also be saying, what can we sell to them? Is there a way we can fix the Electoral Count Act and make a couple of changes, bring back the old Civil Rights Act that we can get Mitt Romney on board? Maybe that's a pipe dream, but there needs to be a track B on this as well, instead of having all your chips in the basket of a guy that represents a very, very red state.
Don, I would welcome you to also weigh in on Tim's analysis there, but also talk about some misconceptions around voting that surfaced in a focus group discussion the New York Times conducted with Republican voters. One of those voters said, quote, the right to vote thing. I've never been turned down to vote. Just show up and go vote. But this whole mail-in ballot thing, I think that should end right away. I mean, isn't that part of the problem, Don, that some voters do have no issue voting while other voters have to jump through innumerable hoops and wait in line?
Yeah, that's absolutely the problem. I mean, voting access is not equal and frankly has never been equal across this country. When you look at long lines, when you look at voting not happening on Saturday, it happens in the middle of workday. All of these things for a lot of Americans are tantamount to a poll tax. And that is what the idea of ballot box expansion is all about, the idea of trying to get at. So the person who gave that quote to the New York Times, unfortunately, embarrassed himself or herself. It was probably a dude. Dudes generally say dumb stuff like that. But this is just someone who generally clearly doesn't understand the idea of a robust voting rights platform. But I would also say, unfortunately, I don't think this is a circumstance where Oprah, Barack Obama are going to get the job done. That's simply not who Joe Manchin responds to. I know I switched up topics there, but I agree with Tim that there's 99 other senators who need to be pressured to make this thing come home for Joe Biden and his agenda.
I invited you to switch topics, and to your point, it was indeed a dude who offered that quote. Tim, the Times also did a focus group with Democratic voters, and when asked, how would you characterize the health of our democracy, they said things like, in the ICU, it's a pandemic, and it's in critical condition, poisoned. Are these voters more in touch with the urgency of the moment than Senator Manchin, Senator Sinema?
I think they're really in touch with the moment. I think that they are right. I think the problem is if you have I'll put cinema in a different category because she represents a purple state. I don't really think she has any good political excuse on this front. I think if you're looking at Manchin, rather than psychoanalyze him, the question is, in a state that voted 70% for Donald Trump, there is no, or that group does not have any urgency about the end of democracy. That group probably wants a MAGA. There's only a majority, support in West Virginia for a MAGA autocracy right now. So, that's why Democratic voters are concerned, and they rightly should be. And so the question is, how can the responsible people? It's not fair that this has to fall on Democrats. The Democrats have to be the responsible ones. But that's the reality right now. So how can the responsible people come up with a pragmatic solution that can bring Manchin on board, maybe bring some of these Republicans on board, and then pressure and attack, like Joe Biden did yesterday, the ones who are putting our democracy in threat? That is the path forward here, rather than just sort of hoping for the perfect and wagging your finger at Joe Manchin if he doesn't come along. That's not going to solve what is an urgent crisis.
Don, I have about a minute left. Set the stakes for us. If Democrats, understanding that a majority of Republicans are not going to come to the table on this, if they can't get any major voting rights reform passed, what happens?
Then we have a cacophony and a complete mixed up situation in terms of actual state voting procedures going into these midterms. We have a patchwork of state voting laws that are going to lead to absolute chaos going into this November's midterms, and even the primaries that lead into the midterms, where you have had multiple, I think 31 or 32 states pass voter suppression laws, making it more difficult for people to vote, where there's no clarity whatsoever about that procedurally. And even without the John Lewis Voting Rights Act or the other Voting Rights Act that were out there throughout last year, there's no excuse for Joe Manchin or other members of Congress to not take a hard look at the Freedom to Vote Act, which brings uniformity to those. So you've got to get that done in the first quarter of 2022 to bring some uniformity to what will be a chaotic election season in 2022 without it.
Yeah, so Congress has a lot on their plate with Senator Joe Manchin. The question is Senator Joe Manchin going to be able to go back to his state, West Virginia, this year before the midterm elections and be able to say that he got something done in 2022? Or is he going to have to go back to his state and say, all I did was block what was supposed to be done? Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing to his point of view? Because we're going into a big election year. The House and the Senate are up for re-election. Democrats think that they're going to hold both the House and Senate. Republicans think they're going to take back the House and Senate. Right now, Biden's approval rating is way down. I'm not choosing sides or anything. That's just the facts of the matters based on polls. And the economy is on very shaky grounds. I mean, the virus is just rampaging on. And I mean, Trump had former President Donald Trump had a really hard time with the virus. Biden's having a hard time with the virus. If I was president, I'd be having a hard time with the virus too. I mean, there's just millions of people here. I mean, in some cases, 1 million people per day catching the virus and testing positive. That's a really hard thing to combat with. And when you combine that with this, the Omicron variant is likely to fuel inflation as Americans keep shopping rather than dining out and traveling. And and it's going to hurt a lot of things like traveling and dining. A lot of restaurants are really, really struggling. They say it's going to fuel inflation. And I'm seeing a lot of reports like this that the Omicron variant is going to mean more food outages at U.S. grocery stores. And I've even seen a lot of comments from you guys saying that you're going to grocery stores or Walmart and seeing some aisles that are completely bare, or not completely bare, but a lot of things are missing. A lot of things are missing already because of the supply chain shortage and the worker shortage. And we are seeing this a lot. In fact, here's a story that hits really close to home. My dad, who's kind of a workaholic, he's, let me see here, he's 72 years old, and he's supposed to be retired. In fact, he retired twice. He worked at a grocery store named Heinen's for like 40 years, 38 years or something like that. He retired from there. Then he worked at my limo and bus company for a whole bunch of years. Retired from there, and now he delivers pizza part time. He's supposed to be retired, but the guy just can't stop working, right? So he delivers pizza part time for a pizza company. I don't even know if I should say the company or anything like that. But he delivers pizza for a pizza company. I'm not like trying to sponsor the pizza company or anything like that, right? But he delivers pizza for this pizza company, and the pizza company said that they're no longer accept. It's a major national chain, right? I don't even know if I should be saying this or anything like that, right? But the pizza company told him and the store and their all their customers and all the local chain stores around me that they're no longer going to be accepting any coupons. So anybody that calls up and says, "Hey, I got this coupon for $2 off or $3 off or buy this pizza, get that or buy that pizza, get this," right? Any coupon that anybody has, they're not going to honor it. And the reason is because of a food shortage. And my dad told me that the amount of food that they got delivered, they get like 3 deliveries per week. They only got enough food delivered for 1 day. And their manager told them they didn't even know if they were going to have enough food for the next day. So that they literally might be running out of food at this major pizza company or this major pizza, delivery place, right? Pizza chain, right? So they're not accepting any more coupons. So that means the price is going up, aka inflation. So if your average pizza is $10, it's now $12. So it's 20% increase. I'm just, picking numbers out of the air here, right? We're just ballparking numbers, right? So no longer accepting any coupons. And I go, well, Dad, how many people use coupons? Because I'm not the type of guy that like goes through the paper and grabs a coupon. I don't, ain't nobody got time for that. At least I don't. He goes, oh no, probably like 80% of people that call up got a coupon. I'm like, oh, all right. I don't got time for that. He's like, no, it's like almost everybody that calls up has a coupon. I'm like, oh, okay. He's like, so we're not accepting any coupons now at all. And he says, not only that, but we have a worker shortage as well. We just don't have enough employees. So they have a double shortage. So that's a lot of things that are going on right now. I seen another article as well. This is really interesting. And here we are talking about worker shortage and inflation again. You can't make this stuff up. U.S. hospitals struggle to match Walmart pay as a staff flees because of the Omicron variant. Can't make this stuff up, guys. And I know this is the case. I have a friend who actually lives in Texas, but a longtime friend of mine, and he's a EMT. And I know recently he's got a big pay increase because of the virus and stuff. But he used to make like around 15-ish dollars an hour not that long ago, a couple years ago. And now that's like what Walmart pays. And not everybody gets that at Walmart, but I know that some people get hired in some locations in some states. I know it varies by state to state and stuff like that. But some locations and some Walmarts will hire people starting at or around $15 an hour. Which is crazy because you think about an EMT that has to go to school and get certified and all that stuff is making anywhere even close to what someone who just starts and just walks into Walmart can make, or even just like a teenager just walks into Walmart, right? Um, and you see headlines like this: U.S. hospitals struggle to match Walmart pay as staffs flee Omicron. And both of these industries, hospitals make billions and Walmart make billions. So you would at first think, well, these hospitals they're making billions and billions of dollars. But so's Walmart too. I mean, don't get me wrong. The Walmart family, they're worth billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars, every single one of them. The hospitals are too, but the pandemic's eaten into everybody's margins. And I've been a long, long time businessman, and business is a game of margins because once your margins start to get cut, if you don't have margin, everything goes to the wayside. Because if you and I'll just ballpark some numbers here. If you have a 20% profit margin here, and all of a sudden that gets cut in half, and you got a 10% margin, you're on thin ice. And again, I'm just throwing numbers out of thin air here, right? But and when we're talking about like shipping things from China, and shipping has in some cases gone up by 50% or so, changes like that can cut your margin in half. And then what happens is, what happens, right? Who ends up paying for it? You guys, the consumer. Yeah. And that is actually what drives a lot of businesses out of business, because what happens is when a lot of companies get desperate, they don't raise their prices. And when you can't raise your prices because your other competitors haven't raised their prices, that's when companies go out of business. And the problem is in a competitive, or in a bad market like now per se, when you're supposed to raise your prices because your costs are going up, that's when companies go out of business left and right, because the cost of everything is going up, right? And businesses need to raise their prices, or else they go out of business. And then who struggles most is the small business owners and the people on fixed income, the people who don't make a lot of money, the people in the lowest income brackets. And that's why, thankfully, we have a lot of these rent assistance programs, utility assistance programs, homeowners assistance programs, that I have links for you guys down below in the description of this video, and I'll link you to here in a moment. You definitely need to apply for those before they run out of money. Some of them are even starting to run out of money. When and if they pass a next stimulus package, there may be even more money for that. I've even seen a lot of people that have said they've got approved for 2 rounds of rent assistance now. I've seen a lot of people just in the last few days say they got approved for, a couple people just in the last video or so said they just got approved for $800 in utility assistance, $900 in utility assistance, $700 in utility assistance. A lot of that going around. It's just literally all you got to do is apply. I've seen a lot of comments, people saying, "Thank you, Jimmy, for telling me about this." You're welcome. That's what I'm here for. But if you don't apply, you won't get it. People saying, "I need another stimulus check." And I'm trying to tell you people, there's money available right now. You just got to apply for it. Utility assistance, rent assistance, homeowners assistance. And I'm trying to tell everybody, it's available. You just got to apply for it. And if you're like me, ain't nobody got time for that, well, then I'm trying to tell you, it's there, it's available. And if you don't got time for that, if you're low income, you'll probably qualify. You'll probably qualify for at least one of them, right? And then we have the internet assistance as well that I've covered so many times on the show. Um, that's kind of has changed here for 2022. But yeah, there's just so many different programs. And honestly, in 2022, probably going to be a lot of new programs here throughout the year. A lot of states are going to probably be doing this as well as Congress decides what to do here. But a lot of states are stepping up to kind of fill the void here as well. So I'm going to keep you up to date with all these programs here going forward. So make sure you click the subscribe button down below if you haven't yet, to join our family of subscribers, our extended family here, the best community on YouTube. Literally, our community here is absolutely the best. We are like a huge family, um, the best family here in YouTube. So make sure to subscribe down below. It's free, costs nothing. I don't charge anything. I don't ask you to pay anything to the channel here or anything. In fact, I'm going to be giving money away to our some of our viewers here again with our What's in the Box contest here in January. Going to be starting it here sometime soon. So stay tuned for that as well. So make sure to subscribe down below, hit the like button if you haven't yet. And here's the videos. You can click this top video next to watch my newest video. This bottom video is how to apply for utility assistance up to $1,500. This top video here is how to apply for rent assistance. You can get up to 12 months of your rent paid. And this bottom video here is how to apply for homeowners assistance up to $80,000 if you're a homeowner. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.